My life has been an amazing journey so far, full of love, grace, community, friendship, and wild, amazing adventures. I'm so grateful for what's happened to me in my life and continually excited, looking forward for the future. I continue to challenge myself as I grow, not only for me, but also for others. Even though I was born without legs, I never allowed that to stop me from living a full life. One of the greatest blessings and privileges in my life is to be able to reach and connect with other people, to hopefully inspire people to see that they too can achieve whatever they put their mind to. As a speaker, author, and aerialist, I get to travel the world inspiring and motivating and mainly just sharing my life with people to show them that everything is truly possible. My life is truly amazing and over the top. Even the way I met my husband Dominic is in true Jen fashion. Meeting in Austria, overseas, at a speech, doing a book signing, and that's where I meet my husband. We perform together, we speak together, and we just do life together. I think the way I've overcome is because of the people in my life, my family, my faith, my teachers, my coaches. I mean, these are coaches like my tumbling coach who had never coached somebody with no legs, obviously, but she was willing, and like having people like that in a community like that just poured into me so much, especially my childhood, that really built that foundation. It was always a part of me, but never my identity. I'd say some of the greatest challenges are kind of maybe not as interesting as you think. They're just being a girl growing up and having insecurities, like I had insecurities so much about having muscles and big arms, because it wasn't feminine. And it was like, it's amazing how much you can get yourself hung up on something that then other people compliment me on. I'm like, what? Other girls like, oh, I'd love to have your arms. I'm like, why? Like, you don't want that. Like, it was this weird thing until I got to a point where I'm like, Jen, if other people can appreciate it in you, you need to appreciate it in yourself, And as I got older, I also had like this time in my life where it was really, really low, and I became obsessed with just being thin and skinny, and was in the entertainment industry and seeing myself on camera, and I got totally swept up into that idea. And oddly enough, it had nothing to do with the fact that I didn't have legs, and everything to do with just being a human, you know what I mean? Like, just kind of that normal thing that really got me caught up for a while, and I became very thin and became very unhealthy. And then that was the whole journey of coming out of that. And so that was like rock bottom to really coming out of it and really like persevering and being okay with a healthy body. I had prosthetics when I was younger, and it was great technology for then, but we would look at it as like outdated now, right? And as a kid, I was always an athlete, and so the prosthetics slowed me down. So like, I only wore them for prom so that I could wear like a really long, pretty dress, And then my parents always joke like the other half of her's up in the attic, like her legs have just been in the attic. So, but as I get older, it's kind of cool. Like, I've been thinking about, man, it would be kind of interesting to have some new prosthetics, like especially we want to have kids, and like when I'm pregnant, I'm like, I think it'd be kind of a cool journey and or challenge to like learn and like master these prosthetics, because I have good core, I have good balance. I'm like, I could totally do that, and it would be an interesting way of like alternative exercises too. So I think it'd be really cool to try out new prosthetics in the future. There's a lot of things that the government or society and people or country as a whole or society as a whole can certainly change about, disabilities and even stigmas or structural things like that, like buildings and things. But first I have to say, I always want to make sure that we acknowledge the amount of amazing work that has been done. I think that can often get lost in of course, it's always great to improve, and we should, and we are. But I also think it's important that we stop and realize, like, I've been all over the world to over 20 countries, like 23 countries. And I have to tell you, there is not one place I've ever been in the world that even comes close to here, as far as even being able to rent a car or having structural like ramps, having things that are accessible. So first, I just want to acknowledge that like we are doing a very good job. And as far as improving, I was getting a car, and I use hand controls. Very simple. They're connected to the gas and the brake, down for gas, forward for brake, and you can still drive with the pedals. However, it's pretty expensive. So imagine if you were renting leasing or buying a car, and they said, okay, here's your car, and if you want the gas and the brake pedal, that's another $1,700 to $2,000. You'd be like, what? That's such a ripoff. You know that I need that to drive, right? So that happens with the hand controls, and it's really almost not covered at all by any insurance. And that's something to me that I'm like, how's that missed? What happened here? Like, it's such a strange thing because we're so far in other areas, but I guess maybe because it's not the norm, it just somehow gets like forgotten, And so that's something that we could really address for sure. What Penta does as far as like taking prosthetics that people have outgrown, don't use anymore, refurbishing them, and then sending them to people all over the world is like incredible.